the last story we have time for this week is about Halo, segue. And this is Halo Studios has reportedly canceled a multiplayer project called Eker. At least that's how I'm pronouncing it in my head. Ekur, Eker, in a move that seems to align with the wide-ranging Xbox cuts announced last week. Halo reporter Rebs Gaming originated the story on YouTube, saying they'd heard from multiple employees at Halo Studios that Project Eker was no longer in development. The claim was backed up by, Microsoft-connected Windows Central reporter Jez Corden, who said the information was 100% true. A week earlier, however, Rebs Gaming had declared Project Eker, or at least part of it, they said, would be the next multiplayer Halo game based on information from someone who'd worked with Halo Studios, plus another source. Nevertheless, a recent development has changed this outcome and prompted the newer claim that the project is dead. Nowhere does Rebs Gaming mention the Xbox cuts as a reason why. The only possible explanation cited is, quote, major development problems with Campaign Evolved, the current Halo 1 remake that's about to come out, which apparently sucked people away from the Eker project. Quote, sometime after that, Eker was canceled, said Rebs Gaming, giving no further detail. Project Eker was reportedly prototyped by Certain Affinity, a studio Xbox has worked with numerous times in the past. I'm going to pause real quick just to give the context. Certain Affinity is headed by Max Hoberman, the multiplayer lead on Halo 1 and 2. So a dude that goes all the way back to the OG days. And they've done support work and multiplayer stuff on a lot of Halo games since then. All right. Certain Affinity built multiplayer maps for Halo 2 and worked on a handful of Halo project. Not Halo 2, would have been Halo 4, I think. Anyway, they worked on Master Chief Collection. Certain Affinity reportedly got the go-ahead from Halo Studios to develop Project Eker after an Unreal Engine-powered Battle Royale Halo experiment called Project Tatanka didn't work out. Now, that we've heard about before. Mm-hmm. The Eker piece is new here. Project Eker would carry on exploring Unreal, coincidentally, the engine Campaign Evolved is built on, and the studio is shifting to, and use Tatanka's map alongside Halo Infinite's Slipspace map. The Project Eker prototype faced a green light verdict in September of 2023, Rebs Gaming said, and succeeded. After which, an extraction shooter idea was toyed with before a super big team battle idea was settled on instead. Halo 5 Warzone was cited as a touchstone for the project, and Project Eker reportedly had playable Spartans and Elites, and full character customization. It's not clear at what point, if at all, Certain Affinity handed the project over to Halo Studios, but data miners and other Halo scrutinizers found evidence of the game existing on the studio's servers relatively recently. Miranda, my fellow Halo superfan, what do you make of this?
I'm bummed. I mean, things get scrapped for many reasons, but I just want more new Halo. Like, obviously, we're getting Campaign Evolved, but it's like, but I know that Halo, you know? I know they're changing some things. Of course, I'm going to solo Legendary it, but I think, as we've said already many times in this show, there's just been this frustration with Halo Studios and the direction, management, them being unable to continue, like, Halo Infinite for whatever vision they had. And so I think hearing about this was like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Like, I know my friends and I honestly really still liked just hopping in Halo multiplayer or Halo Infinite multiplayer for like quite a while after it launched. And, you know, we kind of faded out as it didn't have as many updates and we just kind of wanted more from it. But when they did do like something big, we'd just dip in every now and then. And I think if they had more of a live service focus of a shooter that would have like progression and just like a longer tail to it with like a better roadmap attached, that would be so enticing. Like, I love playing Halo, and so do my friends. It's so different from other shooters, as anyone who's played Halo, which I'm sure it's most of our listeners know, right?
Yeah.
And so that it's just, it's like being wrapped in a cozy blanket, but you're shrimping up and you're like getting serious about it, or you're just having fun. And I think that's just something I'd want. So when I heard that you mentioned that they had, I guess, thought about an extraction shooter, I was like, no, don't. But I'm glad that was just they pivoted, but also that pivot is maybe not going to be happening anyway. So a bummer, but yeah.
Michael?
Ooh, well, let me start off by saying that Halo Infinite's multiplayer was fantastic if they did more with it. And it is, again, one of Xbox's drop the ball moments, right? You drop the ball on having Fallout and Elder Scrolls under your belt over the years. You also drop the ball on having a good core multiplayer game there in Infinite without, the support and the extra content that it would need it to thrive. It just didn't come to fruition. And that's a bummer. So when I hear about this is also a bummer as well, because Halo has hung its hat on being the multiplayer shooter, especially on console. And when it makes a little bit more sense to me now that Campaign Evolved is just the Halo single player game. I can imagine a world in which this project was supposed to come out alongside Campaign Evolved, or at least within the window around Campaign Evolved. So you do have that multiplayer thing to accompany it and not just have a single player campaign. Like, okay, that's cool, but like, come on, man, like Halo is all about multiplayer as well. So it kind of makes sense that this was being worked on. For the reasons why it would get canned, though, is that's the curious part. But I also think about how a lot of these spin-off multiplayer projects, when I look over on PlayStation, they're just getting canned. Like The Last of Us multiplayer game was probably the most prominent one, where it's like, yeah, of course, The Last of Us multiplayer game. Sure, that seems like it might print money for you. And then it gets canned. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And there's a lot of reasons. There could have been a lot of reasons for that. The project just wasn't where it was at. The extra resources needed to get it across the finish line may be a little too much for what they think the return is going to be on it. This could have faced a similar thing. And if you're going to put out a big Halo multiplayer project, I imagine that they're also a little bit more precious about it. Like, if you're going to put this big thing out, it's going to be representative of the franchise moving forward. And maybe they're still trying to figure out exactly what they want to do with Halo, and maybe this didn't necessarily align with that. But also maybe there was, as you mentioned, that this was supposed to be super big team battle like focus. That was the whole foundation for this project. And then everyone is trying to chase extraction shooters. So maybe there was conflicts internally about what the game should be, even though it was pretty far along. And they're kind of at a point where it's like, okay, if we pivot, then it's going to take X amount of time more. But if we keep going in a certain direction, maybe it's not exactly what the C-suite execs want, or what the tastes of the current gaming climate necessarily want. So there are a lot of factors that could have went into this decision, and none of which are great when you think about it. So it's a bit of a bummer. And I don't know. It's just when I think about Halo multiplayer, like, man, come on now. Like, how do you fumble that?
Man,
that's wild.
Yeah, I'm watching this gameplay from Halo Infinite multiplayer. I'm just so nostalgic. It was not that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Man, that was so good. Like, it hit just right.
It was such a good, I guess, proof of concept, you could say. But again, you got to, in this day and age, you got to do a little bit more with it. And you would think that a brand like Halo and a studio like 343, now Halo Studios, would have the resources to really key in on that. But I don't know. Again, another missed opportunity under the Microsoft umbrella.
Yeah, to me, it's like, how has, to Miranda's point about managing Halo and the lack of output, and how is Max Hoberman Studio, the multiplayer design lead on the two best Halo games, how has he not been able to get, not him, but how has Xbox not moved forward with his multiplayer project, not once, but twice? Now, I appreciate to what, Michael, I think you were saying, I'm glad that they decided not to do a trend chasing thing. Like, first the battle royale, they're like, because that, like, the battle royale fad has passed. Like, it's not that the genre's dead, but it's like,
everyone staked their claim.
It's like, are you Fortnite? No. Are you Apex Legends? no,
Right.
then
Get out.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And now, extraction shooters kind of at least has been the thing for a bit here, but will that last? History says probably not. They'll move on to something else. But yeah, but then landing on the super big team battle thing, yes, that's not trend chasing. That's embracing what's awesome about Halo.
It's iconic.
So that's where I get really sad. Like the the battle royale thing doesn't bother me. Like, okay, yeah, because that's just, trying to get Halo's IP onto a flavor of the month genre. Same thing with the extraction shooter, but yeah, like super big team battle could have been so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. The fact that they were serendipitously already building it in Unreal before Halo Studios pivoted there anyway, is just like, wait, how did this not get to the finish line? What world are we living in? What's going on? So
yeah, there's obviously things we don't know, and why these, because as I said earlier, things get canceled for so many reasons. But it's, I think, just anytime we hear about Halo project canceled, it's like,
give us something.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know.
At least we're getting 3 new missions in a game we played already.
Yay.
Many times.
Which, by the way, so we are, I don't know why I'm mentioning this now. I should have mentioned this at the top. We are not going to have a show for you next week. All of our production teams are down in San Diego on site covering San Diego Comic-Con. So no Unlocked, and none of our other podcasts will be with you next week. But in 2 weeks, we will talk all about, that'll be the Halo Campaign Evolved show, where we'll have all played a ton of it. So that's, we're looking forward to chatting about that with you in a couple weeks. But yeah, for the meantime, Miranda, I think you and I we were talking about this yesterday. We'll talk more in 2 weeks when we're back and talking about Campaign Evolved, but we're left almost pulling our hair out about, like, what is the plan with this franchise? So we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. But unfortunately, that plan does not include Project Eker, which would have been a super big team battle from Max Hoberman's Certain Affinity. And now I'm sad. And that's that.
Damn. Well, ending another episode on a sad note. You hate to see it. Truly hate to see it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to watch the full episode at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of Unlocked drop every Thursday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.